All right, if you're watching this video, it's because you need to make up one of the days that from this week for week 5, or maybe you just want a refresher because we are talking about a really important topic. We're talking about centers of information. By now, all of you guys should have already made a survey, and if you haven't done a survey, you need to get the survey done. Doesn't mean you can't watch this video, but I'm just giving you guys a heads up. Make sure you guys have your survey done, and make sure you have a couple of people answering your survey. But centers are super important because they basically talk about information. And sometimes when you see information and you see all these numbers and values, it might be difficult to understand and see what they're trying to tell you and portray, and like what does it really all mean. So what they do is they tend to add weight and gravity, and it points to certain values and numbers, and then that gives us an idea of what the entirety of the whole data looks like. And just so you guys know, like Google and Facebook, they use your guys' information and it's valuable and they can sell it. And like say somebody wanted to target food truck business owners, that way they can put ads in front of food truck business owners to sell products to them. So then that data of information of all these people, they put weight on the people that are food truck owners. It adds weight, and then you can see them and you can find them. I hope that makes sense. If not, don't worry about it. It's gonna make sense hopefully by the end of this video. But let's just go ahead and just get started. I did already kind of like start writing on this packet, and I had to re-record this video, so that's why. And I only have one other packet. That's it. So this is all I got. So just make sure you guys write your name. I did say that the mean or the average is the measure that represents the center, but I did say it's just one of the centers. Okay, it's the typical value of a data set. That's another thing that you can think about. It's like okay, what if there was just like one person to represent the data, what would it be? So that's what this is. And to find the mean, you have to add up all the values and divide by the number of total values. And in this example, I want you to find the mean for the lows and mean for the highs. So we're gonna start off with the lows, and then we're gonna go ahead and do the highs. And I like to travel, which is why I did this example. Basically, when I travel, I like to look at the weather and kind of give an idea of how hot is it going to be, how cold is it going to be. That way I know what to take on my trip. Now the highs are obviously the ones that are on the left because they're the high values. They're higher than the lows. The high values are typically like around like 1 p.m. The low values are like around like 4 in the morning. So that just kind of gives you an idea in terms of time wise when it's going to be this cold, when it's going to be that hot. But what you have to do first is add up all the values. So I'm going to get my calculator, and all of you guys should have a calculator. And I'm going to add up all the lows. So 55 plus 60 plus 63 plus 59 plus 61 plus 63 again, and then plus 59. That gives us 420. So that's an easy number to write down. Hopefully it's easily divisible. So you make sure you add them all up. I'm just going to write it all out. Probably should have done this first. Okay, and the total is 420, and then we're gonna go ahead and divide by the number of numbers. Now there's 7 days of the week, and that's how many I have, so it's divided by 7. And 42 is divisible by 7, so should be super simple. You guys should all know that 42 divided by 7 is 6. And we just have to add the 0, so it's 6 plus 0, or 6 and 0 gives us 60. Obviously 6 plus 0 is not 60, but I'm saying like if you add this, you include that 0. So, all right, so 60 degrees is the average and low. So that paints a picture in your mind of how cold it's gonna be, like for the whole week. Okay, even though not every single day is gonna be 60, but that gives you an idea. Like, oh, okay, 60 degrees. I know what 60 degrees is like. We're gonna go ahead and add up all the highs. If you want to pause the video, go ahead and pause the video and try it on your own and see if you get the same answer as us. And of course, calculators are allowed in this class. So we're gonna go ahead and add them all up. So let's see, 75 plus 79 plus 82 plus 82 again plus 79 plus 80 plus 83. That gives us 560. And if I divide by 7, I get 80. Nice. So this gives me an idea of how cold it's going to be and how hot it's going to be on my trip in October. So not bad. All right. Super easy. So what do? Add up all the values, divide by the number of numbers that you're adding. Super simple. Okay. Now, before we continue, there is something that you guys need to know. There is something called an outlier. Outlier does exactly what it says. It lies. Okay, it's a liar. It's a data value that is much greater or less than the other values, and it basically throws off the data. Okay, and I usually tell students to throw away an outlier. Just when you have your data, because there's examples where I've had like students ask a question like, how many brothers and sisters do you have? And then it says like the average is 20, and it's like, well, why? There's no way that people have 20 brothers and sisters. But then you look at the data and somebody answered like 1,000, and it's like, obviously nobody has 1,000 brothers and sisters. So that person lied just to be funny with your survey, and that threw off all the information. So if you delete it, then it gives you like the true center. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do two examples, one with an outlier and one without. This example does have an outlier, so let's take a look at it. It says hourly pay by U.S. industry, and so some of these numbers are pretty high, and then if you go all the way to the bottom, we have something that's super, super low. Now, 67 is not an outlier because there's another one that says 65, and then 58 is relatively close. So just so you know, the only one that's an outlier is this one. Now, another thing is begging is not an industry. I just added that. I looked it up and like, okay, how much do people usually get an hour by begging? It's not always $4. Sometimes people get like as much as like 10 or 12, but I'm not saying that that's what you guys should be doing, because I don't think that's a good lifestyle. But that's just my opinion, and I think most people would agree. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna say with and without. So the one with, we're gonna add all of them, and we're going to divide them on. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this one, we're going to divide by 9. This one, we're going to divide by 8 because we're going to get rid of that one. But we got to go ahead and write all these numbers. So 58, 56, 55, plus 31, plus 27, plus 24. And this one's going to be without, so it's not going to include the plus 4. So let's rewrite this. And let's see what's the total. Okay, so if I add all these up, let's see, 67 plus 65 plus 58 plus 56 plus 55 plus 31 plus 27 plus 24 plus 4. That gives me 387. And so then this one should be 383. Okay. And if I divide this by 9, it says that my average is $43. Not bad. But if I divide 383 divided by 8, I get about $47 and let's say 87 cents. Okay. Now, you might say, hey, Mr. Martinez, these numbers are not that much off. Okay? You're right. You're 100% right. It's not that much off. So if I told you, hey, we're going to hire you and we're going to hire you with the average of what people get paid, and we include this bottom number, we say, hey, we're going to pay you $43 as opposed to 47, you might say, oh, Mr. Martinez, well, this is like a $4 difference in a week, that ends up being about, actually this is more than a $4 difference. This is almost a $5 difference. Imagine this was 48, it's 13 cents off. So 48, it's $5 times 40 is about $200 per week. And if we do this times for a year, I've already done this. It's about $10,000 that you're missing out on, okay? Is that a lot of money? Yeah, it's a big difference, you guys. So outliers mess up data. Maybe this one wasn't like a big example where it like totally threw off the data, like some of the examples that I've seen with my other student surveys. But all I'm trying to tell you is it does change it. So you don't want to include them, and you have to pay attention to what people are saying when they answer your survey. Some of you guys were smart and you only allowed students to answer certain answers between like say like 0 and 10 or 0 and 100, whatever it was. But some of you guys just didn't put parameters in your surveys. So people can write whatever they want, and that might just throw off your survey. So just be careful with that. Now, on the back side, it does say, find the mean of the following examples. If there's an outlier, remove it before you do your calculations. I told all my students that there was only one outlier, and that outlier was in number 2. See if you guys can find which one it is. And it is 32. Okay. So when I did this worksheet, I was 32 years, and that's why I added that number. I was trying to pretend like my students' ages, even though I didn't have any students over 15, so it's not definitely my example. But what you need to do is you need to get rid of it. Okay, let's not even do the math. Let's just get rid of it. Okay. So what do? You add these up. You add these up. Add them up. Add them up. Add all of these. I need to know the total for all of these. Okay. And then this one only has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 values, so I'm going to divide by 5. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 values, so I'm going to divide by 10. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so I'm going to divide by 7. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, some of you guys might say, wait, Mr. Martinez, isn't this one an outlier? Well, pay attention to the question. Number of siblings. Could there be someone that has 8 brothers and sisters? Okay, I know people that have 8 brothers and sisters, so that's a possibility. But if somebody wrote 80, then that's an outlier. You have to decide as yourself, like what's an outlier and what's not. That's up to you. And then at the bottom, you have to create your own example. I'm not going to put down the answers. I did put the answers in class, but I don't think we're going to do these because I actually want you to do these on your own. Like these, you got to do them, okay? So just so you know, you watching these videos don't replace being in class, because I show you guys movies and or video clips from YouTube and other stuff. So it doesn't fully like replace the class. It's more just so that you guys can, get your packets done. That being said, let's continue on to part 2, the median. The median is another center. Okay, so the median or middle value. Okay, middle value in a number set. So that's the middle value is another center, and so the median and the mean are usually the most popular ones. But the mode, which is next, is also popular. And the way that we do this is you first have to put the numbers in order, and then you find the middle value. So we're going to do the same thing for the lows, and we're going to do this again for the highs. Okay? Now for the lows, you got to find what's the smallest number. So we got 55. And what's the next smallest? 15. There's 2 59s. there's a 60. And notice how I'm crossing them out as I'm writing them down. That way I don't mess up. Now, when we don't have a lot of numbers, this is easy for us to do this. But imagine you had 200 values. That would take a long time. And that's why I think it's better for us to use computers. So what do you do next? You cross out one at each end at a time till you get to the middle. So in this case, it's 60. Let's do the highs. What's the lowest value? Looks like it's 75. Then it's 279s. Wow, that's what are the odds? So what's after 79? 80 and 81. And then 82, 83. Okay, I like using a different color pen as I cross out the ones at the edges so I can see. And this is interesting. We had 60 degrees for our low for the mean, and now we also have 60 degrees for the median, and then also for the highs, it was 80 and 80, so 60, 60, 80, 80. Whenever the mean and the median are the same value, that tells you something. It's like saying like, beep, beep, like the light's like, hey, this is a true value, okay? This is like truly the center. It's truly gonna be like 60 and it's truly gonna be like 80. So it's just something for you guys to pay attention to. If they're ever off, then it also tells you something else. And we're gonna take a look at that in the next example. So let's take a look at this next example. So they're already in order, okay? So if I start crossing these out, top, bottom, top. Oh, but hold on. We crossed out 3. We crossed out 3. And now we have 2 numbers in the middle. If you ever have 2, like it says, if there are 2 numbers in the middle, then you must take the average of the 2. So we got to do 55 plus 56. And we divide by 2. Half of 55 or 55 plus 56 is 55 and a half. Or $55.50, okay? But remember, our average was $47. So $47, they're not necessarily that close. So something's going on, and that means that we should probably pay attention to our numbers. So check this out. We have 24, 27, 31, and then we don't have any 40s. There's nothing right here in the middle. There's a $14 gap between 31 and 44, okay? Now, what does that gap tell us? That gap tells us that, hey, there's all these numbers that are much higher than these. And that's why the middle number told us it was $55.50 versus 47. So we were able to see something else. And also, what do these people have that these people don't normally have? These people don't usually have, bachelor's and master's degrees. And these people usually do. Other than the real estate, category, which is also the highest, which is something to pay attention to. These people usually have degrees and these people don't. So there's definitely a clear distinction. So again, data and information, they tell us stuff. They paint pictures, like mental pictures, and it allows us to read stuff like regular words and like hieroglyphs. Like that's what this is. Like you're reading stuff that most people can't see. So that's what we're getting out of this information. So the examples, if you guys notice, they're all the same. And I'm doing that because I want you guys to see if you find something interesting. And then I do also say create your own situation and find the median, mix up the numbers. And why do I say mix up the numbers? Because a lot of students forget that you have to first put them in order. Like someone might say, oh, let me cross this one out, let me cross this one out, let me cross this one out. Oh, the median is 75, Mr. Martinez, but it's not 75. You got to put them in order first. So the lowest number is 75, then it's 80, then it's 85, then 90, then 95. So the median number is actually 85. So you got to make sure you put them in order first. And when you do your example down here at the bottom, don't put them in order because then it's too easy. You got to mix up the numbers, okay? So this example right here, or the center, the median center is not the hardest. It's getting easier. So this one was harder because you got to add them up and then divide. This one you just got to put them in order and then start crossing them out on the edges. And if there's two numbers, then you add them up and then divide by 2, okay? Now let's move on to mode. Mode is the most common value, the one that comes out the most. So sometimes we don't have a mode because there's no most common, and sometimes you have multiple modes. So that's just something to keep in mind. And it's also the easiest in my opinion because you don't do any calculations. You don't have to add, you don't multiply, you don't do anything. You do have to count and see which one has the most. So that's something for you to pay attention to. But let's go ahead and start writing. So this is the mode or the most. And the mode, you just, like I said, you don't do any work. So I don't know why I give you guys so much space. You don't need a lot of space. For example, but let's go ahead and write highs, lows. For the highs, I notice that there's 75, 75, 81, 81. And I did say PS, there can be more than one mode. So in this example, 82 doesn't repeat, 83 doesn't repeat, 79 doesn't repeat, but 81 does, and 75 repeats also. So 75 and 81 are both the mode. Okay? Now what about lows? We got 55, 55, 55. So the 55 repeats 3 times, and then it doesn't look like any other number repeats. So this one's simple, 55. Okay? So this is the one that pops out the most. These two are the ones that pop up the most. So it's as simple as that. Now sometimes numbers don't repeat. Okay, so these are the numbers from like the 90s or whatever, but so they're not the same as the last page. But if you notice, they don't repeat. None of the numbers repeat. So since not any of the numbers repeat, there's no mode. And it's as easy as that. Boom, we're done. That's it. That's it. So let's go to the back. Same values. I think I'm only gonna go over one of them. Or we could do the first one, but just know there's no mode, no numbers repeat. The second number, or the second example, some people said, oh, it's 15 and it's 16. There's a lot of 15s and 16s, but wait, 15 repeats 3 times. 16 repeats 5 times. There's only one mode in this example. 16 is the mode, and I'm so sorry for that noise. I have a kitten in this house that thinks that this house is a jungle gym, and she just wants to climb on top of the window. So let's close that for her. Okay, so super easy. I would want to show you Lucy. She's like right there because she's like trying to catch a fly or something. But anyways, the main part of this week is you doing the survey and you doing the data, and that's what we're gonna do. But in order for you guys to do the survey, and just so you guys know, let's see, let's fill this out. It's surveying is the study of the examination of data to understand the properties, behavior, and relationships. I don't really remember how to spell surveying, but here we go. Okay. This is what's most important. You have to write down your questions again, and you should have at least 5 questions that were quantitative questions, meaning that when people answered the question, it was in the form of a number, okay? And if you try to find the mean or the, like, I guess the average of qualitative questions, you're not going to be able to find that. The only thing that you can find is the mode. So remember when I said, oh, some people say that the average or the mean is the most powerful, and I was like, well, just kind of wait, not necessarily. And then they're like, oh, well, what about the middle, the middle number, the median? That's good. Both of them are more strong. And then it's like, oh, is the mode even important? It's like, oh, it's just the most common. But mode actually translates to both qualitative and quantitative data, and that's something that the other two can. And that just kind of shows that everybody has weaknesses and everybody has strengths, and that's why it's good to use all three types of centers to reflect on your information. Now we're gonna look at the data on the computer right now. I did do a survey, and I've been doing this survey for quite some time, so I have a little bit more responses that you might have. You should only have at least 10, minimum 10 people answering your survey. If you have 8 or 9, I'm not gonna get mad or upset. Some of you guys decided to just go ahead and get all 25 responses, which is probably what you should do. You should probably aim to get 25 responses before you do this next step, because you're gonna have to do it again later anyways. So you might as well just get all 25 responses and just do it once, okay? So you do your survey, you have your questions, you have 25 people answer your survey. If you don't have at least 25, get like 10 or 6 or 7, like just some number, okay? Because we're gonna do some math. And I'm gonna show you how the computer can do the math just like that without, I don't even know how, it does it so fast, man. Like, and the other thing is that the computers are super accurate. I used to teach at Cal State Channel Islands, and I used to give students an example where I had them add up like, I think it was like 150 numbers, and then they had to find the average. Everybody had a different answer, okay? Everybody had a different answer. Everybody messed up. There was rarely like one person that would get it right, because since you're adding up so many numbers, there's a lot of opportunities for you to mess up. And the computers don't necessarily mess up. It's very rare for them to mess up as long as they're programmed correctly. And I just showed my students how the computer did the answer like that, while the class took like about an hour to finish the assignment. And I might have had them add like more than 150. It must have been like 250 numbers that they had to answer. And the reason I was doing that is because I was trying to explain that sometimes professors really, really care about you doing the work, but it's not always about you doing the work. Sometimes I think it's about working smarter, not harder, and utilizing your resources to be more efficient, okay? It's like if there's this new tech that just makes your life easier, just use the technology. Like, I'm not saying that there's no benefit in learning how to do it on your own, like by scratch. I think you still need to understand the concept of what it means. Like, what is the average? Like, do you understand what that means? Do you understand what the median is? Do you understand what the mode is? You should still have an understanding, and you should still know how to do it, but it benefits you to use your resources, such as a calculator or the calculator that we're about to use right now on the computer. So let's go ahead and take a look at the computer. So this is my survey. I called it Retirement or Bust. And I have collected 37 responses. I think these are all my responses from this quarter. I think I started over because I think I got about 37 students taking my Math 1B semester 2. And so you can look at your responses, and you can see that I definitely asked more boys than girls. Most people don't know if their parents are preparing for retirement, so I told you that you should probably ask them. Most people want to invest in real estate, and nobody said crypto, which was interesting. And then most people think that you're going to retire between 50 and 60. And there was a gap of people that were in terms of confident. How confident are you? We said there was 8 people that said that they're going to be super confident, and then less and less and less and less. But either way, what you want to do is you want to click over here in viewing sheets. Now, I've already clicked on this, so it's not going to create a new sheet. I'm just going to click on it, and it's going to just go straight to the Google Sheet. And these are all my responses, okay? See how it can be overwhelming looking at all these numbers? Like, it can just kind of give you a headache. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna scroll all the way down, and these are all my qualitative questions, and then these are all my quantitative questions. So what I'm gonna do is right underneath my last qualitative question, I'm gonna type in mean slash average. Then I'm gonna do another one that's median slash middle. And then I'm gonna do one that says mode slash most, okay? That way I can just have the computer do all the calculations, and then I can just transfer that information to the paper. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click next to mean, right here, I'm gonna type in the equal sign. Notice how that's an equal sign. And then it's asking for something. I'm gonna type in SUM for, excuse me, so I'm sorry, average. So they don't call it mean. I think if I type in MEAN, see, it's not a command. You have to type in average. And so I'm gonna click on average, and then now I have to select all the values that I want the computer to calculate the average. So I'm gonna scroll and highlight all of these, and then I'm gonna hit enter. Boom. So it says the average is 6. What's the question? How confident are you that you will retire a millionaire? The answer is 6. That's in the middle. I don't think most people are confident. Even though there's a lot of 10s, on average, the class is not confident. It's like right in the center. Okay, now you can do this all over again. You can type in equals average, and then Google's already telling me, is this what you want the average for? Yes, sir, I do. Boom, 19. That question is, what % of income will you be saving for retirement? The average is 19. Now, you can keep doing this for every single one of these, or you can just click on the box, click on the little corner on the bottom, drag it to the right, and it will do the calculations. Okay? The only one that was like a crazy number, look at that number. I don't even know what that is how much money do you plan on saving by the time you retire? But look, some of these numbers are really big. Like this is one with 21 zeros. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete that. Lower the number. This one has 16 zeros. I'm gonna delete that. Notice how it starts lowering it down by a lot. This one is also a lot. This is, let's see, this is a million. This is like $1 trillion. I'm gonna delete that. And now this number seems a little bit more reasonable. We still have a couple people that answered something like really, really big, like this one over here. That value is, let's see, 1, 2, 3. This is a million, 10 million. This is $800 billion. I don't know if look, I'm not trying to say I don't believe in you, but if you say you're planning on saving $800 billion, there's not a lot of people right now. I don't even think anybody has that much money right now on the planet. So if I delete all of those numbers and I still keep some of these, because I think even these is still like a lot. Like what is that? That's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's 200. Excuse me. That's $100 billion. 100 billion. Okay, that's still a lot. Okay, if I was to delete the 100 billion ones, again, not that I don't believe in my students, but then maybe it gives me a more reasonable answer because 100 billion is a lot. It's a lot of money. So on average, so far we have, most people are going to be saving about $1 million. And that sounds about right. You know, I would say most people are going to save up about $1 million. This is a little bit less than $1 million. Oh, and I forgot this one. At what age do you think you'll retire? So let's click on the little box and drag it. Okay, so on average, most people think they're going to retire at 61. Okay, so this is painting a picture of what the people that answered my survey are thinking about. Now, what about median or the middle value? I'm going to type in equals ME, and then it already tells me, do you want median? Yes, sir. And what are the values? I'm going to highlight all these values. Hit enter. And so the average middle number is 7. And then I'm going to do this. Okay. And then for mode, I'm going to type in equals MOD. most commonly occurring value in dataset, yes. I'm gonna highlight again all these values. I'm gonna hit enter, and it's okay if you highlight the question on the top. I noticed that doesn't affect it. So 7. So notice how all these numbers are very close. So that means that this is about the confidence level of my students on retiring as millionaires. Oh, the most is 0. So even though the question is how much % of income do you think you'll be saving for retirement? Even though the average was 19, the most common answer was 0. Most people are not, I guess, gonna be saving up for retirement, which is kind of sad, you know, but I think that's how most people are right nowadays, that they're not saving up. Now, maybe it's because we have a couple people that said 70, like if I was to delete 70, 60, 60, 50, and again, I'm not saying that you guys aren't gonna do this. I'm just trying to like make the numbers. Oh, see, it just dropped it all the way to 15. So maybe this is more reasonable. I think you guys should be, you know, saving up about 15% for retirement. The middle number was 13. Okay. If you earn $10,000 a month, how much money would you be saving? The most common answer was 5,000. The middle number was 4,000, and then the average was 4,000. So that sounds about right. How much money have you saved up so far? The most common number is 0. The average is 2,800. Why? Because if these values are true, there's a student out there that saved up 25 grand. Someone has 10,000, somebody has 6,000, but the most common answer is $0. And then so as you can see, like it paints a picture, you know, how much money do you plan on having saved up by you retire? This is $1 million. That was the most common answer. I think this is 300,000, so that's the middle value. And then on average, it's $919,798. And then in terms of retirement, see how these are all close? So it paints a picture. Like if you wanted to, you can then take the average of these if you wanted to. But I'm not saying that that's what you should do. But you're gonna copy all these numbers onto your paper right here. So you wanna basically just copy all these numbers. Like I'm gonna write down my question is from 1 to 10, you know, and then to make this easy for you, what I would do is like for me, this is what I'm gonna have to do so that you can see. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna look at these questions. You're gonna type, okay, from 1 to 10. So question 1, from 1 to 10, how confident are you that you're gonna retire a millionaire? And I misspelled millionaire. And then you're just gonna write, okay, the mean was 6. The median, 7. The mode, 7. Okay? Now you do have to analyze the data. Notice it says pick answers, and now let's do some math to analyze data. So what does this mean? This means to me, most people, or most of my students, aren't very confident, but they're also not confident. It's like right in the middle. 6 and 7. That's the 7s give me some hope, you know. But the 6 kind of drops it down just a little bit. So that's what that means. Now I kind of already told you guys what all these mean, but like you're just gonna go ahead and copy these questions and put them back over here, and then you're just gonna like boom. Oh, this one's 7. I'm gonna put 7 there. Oh, excuse me. Oh, sorry. This is the question. It's 15. 15. Median, 13. Mode, 0. What was my question? Let's click on the question. What's the percent of income? Percent of income to save. So what does this mean? It means that most, on average, people said 15, but most people said 0. So that just means that there's a big group of people that are not going to be saving up. And I guess it means that there's a good group of people that are going to be saving up, because it did bring up the average up to 15. So you have to take time and think about what your data means. And if you guys need help, all you guys got to do is just ask me. I love helping you guys out. But this is interesting. This is fun. This has to be that light bulb that like turns on top of your head, and it's like, okay, I see what Mr. Martinez is talking about. Like, I can find out information on other people. And for example, I have 2 students in one of my class, super cool guys, all right? And they asked me a question like, hey, Mr. Martinez, would you wear this shirt? And I'm just like, okay, why are you asking me this question? And they're like, oh, because we're starting a brand, and this is the brand that we want to do, and then this is how we want to do it. Would you wear it? And then I'm thinking like, okay, like, can you give me a little bit more information on what your brand means, just so that I know what you guys stand for? But basically, I like the logo. I would definitely wear that logo on a shirt because I like it, okay? Now, that's just asking me. You know, what if they made a survey and they had a ton of questions about their brand, and they pushed out that survey and had a lot of people answer the survey? They would then have a better idea of what kind of shirts they would make, what colors, you know, is their logo good? Maybe they have 3 different logos, and ask people, hey, do you like logo A? Do you like logo B? Do you like logo C? And then they have like information, and then that allows them to be more successful in their brand. You know what I mean? Like how crazy is that? You know, like, if not, they're just gonna like gamble, and maybe people like their brand, maybe they don't. Maybe they like the logo, maybe it's not as cool, maybe it doesn't really represent what they want it to convey to people. So they can learn a lot about the people that could be their potential clients. And that's why a lot of businesses, after you buy some of their products or before or whatever, they have you ask surveys, and that information is super valuable for them. I have a friend that devotes his entire career on gathering information from people for companies, and he earns more than 6 figures, and he's been earning more than 6 figures for like 10 years. He's my age, so he started working on there like that after he graduated from UCLA. I don't know if that gives out who was one of my close friends that graduated from UCLA, but point of the story is this: data is very important. It's valuable. It paints pictures, and the 3 different centers allow you to interpret the data and the information. Okay. Hopefully this has been helpful. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this packet. Make sure you guys do like front and back. You should have at least 5 questions. And remember, you cannot gather the information until you get at least a couple people to answer the survey. Ideally, the more people that you get to answer the survey, the better your answers are going to be, and the more you're going to be able to understand what you see. So try to get as many as you guys can. I'm telling you that if you get more than 25, I'm giving you extra credit. So I don't know why you wouldn't try to aim for more. But nonetheless, I hope you guys like it. You know, I really do. All right, we still got some more cool chapters coming up. So stay tuned. Make sure you guys like this video, comment down below, share it, subscribe. I don't know, do it all. All right, I'm not giving you extra credit though, but I do appreciate it. All right, bye.